This is a video on our temperature controller. The TCAD stands for Temperature Controller Alarmed Data Logger. So I'll take you through the functions, starting with the temperature control. So this is a Teflon coated probe. You can just see the Teflon sleeve covering it. And like any temperature controller, it's going to heat when the temperature's low. Right now it's set for 73. The temperature's only 70, and so it's calling for heat, which as indicated here, the module is saying output, and there is the output. So if we heat up, let's say this is a heater, and we're heating up the temperature. You can see the temperature is going to climb, and then it's going to the heat will shut off. Once it gets to 73, and so the heat is shut off. Now I've set this for temperature alarmed as well of 75 on the high. So if this gets to 75, then you'll see it go into alarm. Well, let's just help it get there by putting it into the hot water. And there's a little bit of a delay, and there's our high temperature alarm. So we can silence it by pushing either button. The green button keeps it active. So when it gets back into range, it'll first start to, when the temperature's high, there's some settings inside, and we have it set right now to snooze every 60 minutes. So it'll ring again. The piezo buzzer will sound again after 60 minutes, unless you don't want it to do that. But anyway, when it returns into range, we're going to dip it into the cold bath now. And you'll see the temperature is going to come down into range. It will give you a beep to let you know the temperature is into range, and then it'll go back to the green status, meaning it's okay to run. A couple of second delay, and okay, now we're under 75, and now the operator knows that it's okay to run again. Same thing with the low end. I've set this for 70 on the low, so you'd get the same alarm if it's low. So, and now it's calling for heat, as it should, because it's below the set point of 73, which you can change simply by incrementing the digits. If we set it for 74 or 5, the operator can change the set point, and that can be locked out if desired. That's in the settings of the module. Actually, let's do this. So we'll set it back for 75, 74, and so that's the temperature control part of it. Right now we have it set for simple on-off control because it's simpler to understand, and for liquid tanks you don't require PID control, but if you want that, it's a very sophisticated controller with fuzzy logic and all kinds of PID parameters, which are detailed in the detailed instructions on their webpage. Anyway, let's go get into the some of the other features of it. It's designed for to work with tanks, and so there's a liquid level probe here, so you get alarms not only in the case of temperature. So now this liquid, 2 floats are designed to go into a tank, and if the top float, if the liquid level drops low like that, then you'll get an alarm like that, which, as always, we silence it with the green button, and that just lets you know that there's a low liquid level. If the bottom float drops, then it'll shut off the heater, and then the heater will come back on when the liquid level is at least above the emergency low level. So we'll reset the level where it should be. And for all these alarms, by the way, we'll look inside the unit. So you notice that there's a relay output which communicates level conditions like that. If there's an alarm for any reason, the red alarm, it communicates with a building alarm system or something right here. It can be wired in, and there's the wire entry provided. So there's another feature. Actually, let's look at another feature now, the data logging. So this logs data. It logs the temperature, the float level status, and the system status. If there's any errors internally, these are all right here. There's some system errors like power failure alarm. There's a float switch alarm, thermocouple and various system faults. Okay, it's going to be hard to keep those. All right, so now what we'll do is insert the into the front port here. There's a that's how you we'll just insert a flash drive, and now that tells you that it's reading, and when it's done, it'll beep and go solid green. So it's done with its readings, and now we just take the flash drive, and we can insert it into a computer. And this is today's reading that I just took. And you can see here it's recording the date, time, the system, whether it's the red or green button is set for on or off, if the level's okay, if the thermocouple's okay, what the set value was, and the actual recorded temperature, and if there is an alarm. So that happens every 2 minutes. Another interesting feature we'll touch on is the power failure. So if there's a power failure, I'm going to unplug this. You can see that our heater went out, and it's giving you an alarm, a system fault, it says there, still recording the data, even through a power failure alarm. Actually, we'll just silence that. And it tells you on the circuit board here, power fail alarm. So, so it's still recording data, and you can actually choose if you want it to. The battery, this single battery pack is good for 12 hours. There's a double battery pack with double the life. And some of the settings you can choose would be the battery runtime. Right now it's set for 2 hours maximum, and then everything will shut down. Let's see, starting at the top, this is your snooze alarm, 60 minutes, or no snooze alarm. Right now it's set for 60 minutes. And then there's a relay delay, the output, this relay that I mentioned earlier that communicates with a building alarm. You can delay that 15 minutes if you want. And then you don't have to run from battery. You can just deselect that. And so it'll still run from battery, but just won't give you a low battery alarm. Anyway, we'll plug it back in. And now that the power's been restored, the fault clears. So that's a kind of a brief rundown of the functions of our TCAD.